Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined as usual by Tucker Hazel. And we're here today to talk about Game Builder Garage. But before we get into it, if you want to talk with us about the game or anything else, Nintendo or gaming or film or really literally anything,
Yeah.
literally anything,
Please.
link to our Discord as usual, top of the description with the subscribe button, the like button, the bell. You know what to do. And if you don't, you're not smart enough for Game Builder Garage.
Oh shit.
But Tucker, we're here because Nintendo, in typical fashion, I don't know,
Yeah.
announced this
Yeah.
game randomly on Twitter at like 8 o'clock last night.
Mm-hmm.
It is essentially an expanded standalone version of the Garage mode from Nintendo Labo,
Yep.
and it is kind of like Dreams, kind of like Mario Maker. Basically, it's a
Yeah.
make your own mini game type of dealio shared online that's been confirmed local online. The game is $30. It's
Okay.
releasing on June 11th.
All right.
And Tucker, what do you think about it?
Well, I watched this trailer and I was like, in all honesty, I was thinking, oh, hadn't they done this before? And I think that was because I was thinking about the Labo thing and sort of remembering that was in there and it was part of the trailers that or the original Labo reveal trailer. They really pushed that hey, you can like connect different things and make different things do different things. And honestly, when Labo came out, I have Labo VR. I heard a little bit of reviews about Labo. People didn't really talk about the creator mode that much. I know there was definitely some really cool things that came out of it, but it wasn't. People were more focused on, oh hey, this is cardboard, this is the building and stuff like that. And the creator mode was pretty backgrounded. So I think this is really interesting. The $30 price tag I think is okay. I don't know if I'm gonna get into it because I'm also not that creative type. I'm kind of a schmutz, but I think this looks really cool. It's got a great production value to it. And I'm just excited to see what people can do with this.
Yeah, I I have a lot of conflicting thoughts about this
Good.
game.
That's what this video is for.
Um,
I'll let you air
so
your grievances with a Nintendo game that was announced 20 hours ago.
this announcement at least made a little bit more sense to me because their financial information dropped. So I think they're just getting that out of the way ahead of revealing it because they don't want to be like, hey, investors, here are these games, and oh, what's there? The game we didn't announce, So I understand that their hand was kind of forced. Still, it should have been announced somewhere else, but
Yeah.
who cares? I was reminded a lot of WarioWare DIY
Sure.
by this trailer. And WarioWare DIY, for those who aren't familiar, was a DS title where you essentially built your own WarioWare microgames in every respect. You came up with the programming, you drew the assets, you came up with the music, the rules, everything, and it was a pretty actually robust feature set. And you could download other players' creations. It was really ahead of its time in a lot of ways. And of course, it's built in the framework of what they had with Labo, which its issue, Tucker, to your point of people not talking about it was completely insular. You couldn't share
Yeah.
your creations, which
Okay.
was
Yeah.
just a ridiculous shortcoming
Mm-hmm.
for the mode. So I think it's pretty economical on Nintendo's behalf to reuse this code and actually make
Yeah.
it usable. I would hope that they're going to allow players to export their stuff from Labo to this, so they don't have to start from scratch again.
Maybe. Well, do we know if it has Labo support? Because the Labo programming is based entirely on what you're doing with Labo physical things. So I honestly, I would not really expect
You're
any
probably right. It's a good point.
crossover, especially because you need the Labo cartridge to use the Labo parts that you've got.
I mean, I would like them to have this be as wide as possible, considering how clearly it draws on that DNA.
Sure. Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah.
But I don't think Nintendo has any confidence in this, and I don't think it's going to do it especially well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, first problem: the game is $30.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't communicate confidence. Nintendo understands that it can sell games at full price, and they're not selling this at full price.
Yeah.
They're also releasing it 2 weeks before Mario Golf. I think that's also telling.
Yeah.
Um,
This year's release schedule is already sort of piecemealed together, so that's not super surprising to me. And honestly, this is the sort of thing where, much like Famicom Detective Club, people who are interested in this are going to be interested in it no matter when it releases. So that 2 week gap is not it's not going to kill the sales of this game or Mario Golf, I don't think.
I think you're right in that respect, but the difference between this and Famicom Detective Club, in my opinion, is that you release Famicom Detective Club and you fuck off. It doesn't matter. But this is a game that needs maintenance, it needs updates, it needs support, it needs a lot of push from it by Nintendo to actually gain a community, because if this game doesn't have a community, it's worthless. we kind of look at Dreams, right, for Media Molecule in the PlayStation ecosystem, and its inability to find footing when Media Molecule's entire energy and existential existence is on Dreams,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Poor Dreams.
poor
Man,
Dreams.
it's so cool, but
It's very
man,
cool.
people just don't really care about it anymore.
Yeah, I bought it. I thought I played a Donkey Kong 3D platformer. Like, this is neat. And Nintendo's like, actually, no, you can't use our IP. And then I stopped playing Dreams. But that speaks to another issue I have is the mascot is Rectangle Man, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
I think that the game is lacking some kind of branding. I tweeted
Sure.
the mascot should have been Chibi Robo. It should have been something. It should have been it could have been the characters, like the background characters from Super Mario Maker come back. The
Okay.
pigeon
Yeah.
and the woman and the fucking Mario
Great
paint
idea.
dog and the crayon and the rocket and everything.
Hmm.
Without it, I think it's a harder sell. And if the game struggles with post-launch support, I don't think it's going to do very well. And I
Yeah.
don't care about sales. What I care about is a community experience. And this is a game where finding a community, where having Nintendo support it actually affects the player, you know?
Hmm.
Some of my favorite Nintendo games have sold pennies, but it doesn't matter because they're a complete experience. This is not. This requires an external apparatus that I don't think Nintendo is really prepared to give it,
Hmm.
especially when you look at something like Super Mario Maker 2, which got really lacking post-launch support.
Yeah.
That really injured that game's long-term appeal. So I don't have a lot of confidence in this.
No, I mean honestly, you brought up something interesting. I think is the branding of it. Is when I watched the trailer, I thought, okay, this is fun. I like how they've given each of the little different mechanics or programming bits a little bit of personality. They have eyes and beeps and boops on them and stuff, and I think that's good. But I think the problem, as you said, there's not a mascot to it. If there was this programming little boxy character that was well designed and had Nintendo charm and was like, hey, I'm fucking pro gamey and
Yes.
I'm gonna walk you through how to do this. And he had, little bits of charming speech patterns, and he's like, oh, these are my friends. And there was like a little bit of fun dialogue around it that was presenting this game as, hey, this is a Nintendo IP. We have our charm behind it. It's lacking that core, and I think you're right, is that it just feels like a mode on a computer system. It doesn't feel like a Nintendo product, and they're pushing this in the trailer as learn to make games from the minds at Nintendo, which is an interesting sell. But I think the minds at Nintendo also know that their IPs are based around Nintendo charm, design, character, which this has, but it seems to be lacking that major push. And I think, I mean, I actually just want to ask this question. What do you know what the online for this is going to be? I watched this trailer, but I don't really remember. There is sharing, there's
Yes.
curation. Okay.
I don't think we know exactly what it is because a lot of this information was, I think, in like press releases and stuff, like after the trailer, but we can share both locally and online our creations in some form or another.
That's good. Yeah.
That is good. I mean, that's necessary. That's bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we say it's good, but yes, bare minimum.
And that's just kind of my fear. I think the whole learn to make games from the minds at Nintendo is a clever branding, right?
Yeah.
But it would have been cool then what if you just had like a dummy Link model? What if there were like little robotic versions of these Nintendo characters you could pop in?
Oh, yeah.
Or like WarioWare DIY had like, you could use like 8-bit Mario as just an asset in your micro game or something, right? Give it that Nintendo charm. Make it just like here is in a pardon my language, an erector set full of Nintendo things,
Yeah, and it is interesting that it's lacking any of, because you think that you're designing a game from the minds at Nintendo, put Goombas to stomp on.
Yeah.
Chests with rupees in them to open up. Like at that point, you're literally creating games, and you can mix Mario elements with Zelda elements and make something unique in that regard. But maybe put a little sheen on it, so you're like, okay, these are like erector set versions of Nintendo characters, sort of maybe Scribblenauts style with the doodling, something like that. But you're right, even missing that extra layer on top of that's already a better sell. And it's interesting that they decided to go with generic boxy stuff for the theming.
Yeah, I don't know if they're concerned about like giving people access to those things. If they don't,
Mhm.
if they want that to be in house only, I don't know. But I think that's foolish. I think that giving people the ability to kind of just play around with this stuff is interesting. Basically, I want like the Disney Infinity toy box mode, but with Nintendo stuff you can mix and match and put together.
Yeah.
I mean, that said, Tucker, if this works out, it would be really awesome. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm conflicted about it, because I think that having this persistent thing where people are making fun little games that you can play is really compelling. I want it to be something that, oh, you know, maybe every once in a while there's like a viral one on Twitter that looks really cool. So I hop in and I play it a little bit, right?
Mhm.
I think that that sells itself over time. And, you know, like all of these games, the longer it's on the shelf, you know, the better creations people are able to make in it. And I think you could get some really special stuff. And I like the aspect of learning how to program
Mhm.
because and I think Stealth tweeted this. It's listed on the official Nintendo website as like education software.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's what it
Yeah.
seems like.
And so I think that's a clever angle. I like the idea of teaching people very basic programming through this really user-friendly experience, because we were talking a lot about the playing aspect, but the creation is just as important.
Mhm.
um, so if that can be really seamless, maybe it could be interesting. Maybe it could be a nice way to segue into more complicated things, people interested in programming, but ultimately people are interested in playing games, so you gotta balance that out, right? So
Yeah, and I think that what we need to see is more trailers for the game. Obviously, have the game in our hands. See, is there a 50 level thing that walks you through how to do different things? Are there
yeah.
pre-built levels that show you what you can do? Because Mario Maker 2 had that campaign mode, which was great and used
Yes.
those assets in interesting ways. I think we need to see what this package is like. If it's just tutorials, like without any charm, and go make your levels, that's going to feel empty. It's going to feel, okay, why am I spending $30 on this when I could go Dreams, which has a lot bigger customization and everything. And also I think that we just need to see if they even have any post-launch support. I mean, I'm not. It's certainly possible. I'd say kind of likely, but I'm not confident that they're going to be updates to this, that they'll be adding new stuff, because there's obviously the possibility that they come back and say, hey, it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda. Here's Zelda items to put in your
That'd be
levels.
cool.
I think they could do that over time, which fleshes it more out into that Nintendo Charm thing that we were talking about earlier. But as of now, no confirmation that there's even going to be post-launch support. So this could be something that they just drop and keep the servers up, but don't really give a shit about, which is unfortunately what happened with mostly with Mario Maker 2, which is just this, but with Nintendo Charm already. So I don't know. I have low confidence, and I think you've sort of undersold my confidence, but I think it's a reasonable confidence level to be at.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have much more to say.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical.
Hmm.
I would like it to work out. I think it'd be a fun addition to the ecosystem. Um, but there's a lot of unknowns, I suppose, and I'm gonna check it out. Nintendo's publishing it, so I don't know. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
But I want this to be a fixture in the Switch's online space, opposed to just whatever, opposed to just being, oh, just something that they released and forgot about. To that point, by the way, would have been a great Nintendo Switch Online incentive to be
Yes.
able to download, not even put the creation tools behind a paywall,
Hmm.
but NSO members get to download stuff and play it.
Hmm.
Incentivize, make that a better service, you know?
And also that
That
would
your
also
sense.
make it feel more like, or why it makes sense that there's not this extra layer of charm on it. If it was an online incentive, it's like, okay, this is a bonus thing. This is something that we can get into for free, to an extent. And it would be like, okay, well, yeah, sure, it makes sense that they're not really putting all this charm and effort into it. But as of now, it's just standalone, not incentive for online. Although, do we know how Nintendo Switch Online plays into this? You probably have to have that to
I'm
download.
sure you do.
Who knows? But yeah, it's interesting that's not tied in any way.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm taking a wait and see approach, but I'm gonna buy it. So I guess I'm not really waiting and seeing.
No.
But I like I said, I just want this to not be just a fleeting, let's throw something else out here. So there's another game on the release calendar type of deal.
Yeah. But we will see. I mean, honestly, it's coming out really damn soon. Next month, right? June
Yeah.
11th, you said? Yeah.
By the way, between when we're recording now and the end of June, there are 4 first-party releases. Like kind of 5 if you count 2 Famicom Detective Club games, but I'm not really.
Yeesh.
Bizarre. But I'm happy with it.
We'll see. We'll see how they all pan out. This is. I mean, it's an interesting release, an interesting addition to this calendar. And when we look back at the end of the year and we're giving Nintendo a report card, the question is, will this be something like, oh yeah, this released this year and that was a cool bolster to the lineup, or was like, oh yeah, that released, lol. It's possible. All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much for watching, guys. Give us your comments in the comments about what you think about this. If you disagree with our sort of lackluster opinion on it, if you do agree with us, whatever. I'm here to have discussions. Abram doesn't read comments, but maybe I'll force him to read a few occasionally.
I read Discord messages, link in the description.
Yeah. But we will see you guys in other videos, and Abram will be there on probably June 11th to give his first impressions of that game.
Yeah, and I'll be there for Family Detective Club and fucking Metopia and fucking this game and Mario Golf and fucking then Tucker will be back finally for Skyward Sword. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
I think that gives me an aura that I really like.
The Kevin Feige aura. I'm curious what the top of Kevin Feige's head looks like, you know? What if there's like what if it's, so you know Ratatouille, you know the story of Ratatouille, right?
I'm familiar, yes.
Yes. But you remember the rat from Endgame that steps on the button and then Ant-Man goes, pew! It's that rat controlling Kevin Feige. And he made himself the hero of Endgame because Kevin Feige is actually controlled by a rat.
Just this little rat with its little rat hands touching like the gooey brain parts of Kevin Feige's head.
Yeah. And that's why you never see him without the hat. A, because there's a rat in there, but B, because there's exposed brain matter with a rat on top of it. And that exposure to the elements, that's not a great idea. So they've hermetically sealed this cap to the top of his head.
And the rat's like chewing on his brain, like shitting on it, and it's just a mess.
Yeah. If you took that off, this fucking stench, it wouldn't be safe for 50 miles in radius.
Let's talk about Garage Band.